I had always trusted Daniel. We'd been married for 9 years, our lives an intricate weave of comfort and routine. But that Tuesday night, he shattered it. We were in the kitchen, the scent of pasta sauce lingering, when he blurted out, "I have a fantasy." I laughed, assuming something harmless. "It's more than a fantasy," he continued, voice low. "I want to invite others. 4 people. At once." The words landed like shards of glass in my chest. I stared, waiting for the punchline that never came. "You're joking," I said. He shook his head, eyes flicking away. "I've already been talking to them online." My fork clattered onto the plate. This wasn't about imagination. This was a plan. My heart pounded, a strange mix of nausea and disbelief pooling in my stomach. That night, as we lay in the dark, I kept replaying it in my mind, him talking to strangers, planning, arranging, while I was just down the hall, folding his shirts. Had always trusted Daniel. We'd been married for 9 years, our lives an intricate weave of comfort and routine. But that Tuesday night, he shattered it. We were in the kitchen, the scent of pasta sauce lingering, when he blurted out, "I have a fantasy." I laughed, assuming something harmless. "It's more than a fantasy," he continued, voice low. "I want to invite others. 4 people. At once." The words landed like shards of glass in my chest. I stared, waiting for the punchline that never came. "You're joking," I said. He shook his head, eyes flicking away. "I've already been talking to them online." My fork clattered onto the plate. This wasn't about imagination. This was a plan. My heart pounded, a strange mix of nausea and disbelief pooling in my stomach. That night, as we lay in the dark, I kept replaying it in my mind. Him talking to strangers, planning, arranging, while I was just down the hall folding his shirts. Next morning, I tried to pretend nothing had happened. I made coffee. I buttered toast. Daniel hummed like it was just another day. But his phone never left his hand. When he stepped into the shower, I picked it up. The screen lit up with a message, Saturday, 8 p.m. "We're excited to meet you both." I dropped the phone like it burned me. "We both?" My hands shook. When he came out, hair damp, I confronted him. "It's nothing," he said too quickly. "Just chatting." The lie was too thin. "Daniel, are they coming here?" I demanded. He avoided my eyes. "You don't understand. This is something I need. For me. For us." For us? He was rewriting betrayal as a gift. That night he slept soundly. I stayed awake, the ticking clock loud in the silence, wondering when my marriage had stopped being mine. Saturday arrived with a storm. Rain beat against the windows as if the world itself wanted to warn me. I'd told Daniel no. I'd told him I wasn't comfortable. But he'd smiled that convincing smile and said, "Just meet them. That's all." At 7:58 p.m., the doorbell rang. My chest tightened. 4 strangers stood there, 2 men, 2 women. Their faces were expectant, eager, like guests arriving for a party. Daniel greeted them warmly, shaking hands, ushering them inside. I stayed near the doorway, my arms crossed. "Emily," Daniel said brightly, "this is everyone I told you about." Everyone. Like they were friends, not accomplices. Their laughter filled the living room. Wine was poured. My home, once a safe place, felt like a stage for a show I never agreed to perform in. By the time I realized what was about to happen, the door behind me had quietly closed. It happened too quickly for me to stop it. The conversations blurred. Wine glasses clinked. Daniel's hand rested on one woman's thigh like it belonged there. I wanted to scream, but my voice was lodged somewhere deep in my chest. Every second felt like an intrusion into my own life. These people, laughing, leaning close, were invading more than just my home. Daniel caught my eye, as if silently asking me to join. I shook my head. His expression hardened. "This is my fantasy," he whispered sharply. "And you're ruining it." Something inside me cracked. 9 years of love, of trust, of building a life together, all splintered in a moment. I stood, my chair scraping the floor. "I'm not doing this," I said. No one moved. Daniel didn't chase after me when I walked out into the storm. I didn't go far, just to my sister's house, where I sat on her couch wrapped in a blanket, staring at the wall. My phone buzzed over and over. Daniel's messages poured in. "You overreacted. We could have talked. You embarrassed me." Embarrassed him? The audacity twisted in my gut. By morning, his tone had shifted to pleading. "Come home. We can figure this out." But I couldn't forget their faces, the sound of his laugh with them. I called him. "Was this the first time?" I asked. Silence. Then, "No." My heart sank. This wasn't one mistake. It was a habit, a pattern. I hung up without saying goodbye. 2 days later, I returned to collect my things. The house smelled like him, like us, but it felt foreign. On the kitchen counter, his laptop was open. Curiosity, or maybe masochism, pulled me toward it. His messages were there in plain sight, not just to the 4 from Saturday, but dozens of others. Arrangements, compliments, explicit promises. He had been living a double life. When he came home, he didn't even try to deny it. "I need more than what you give me," he said coldly. "I've always been this way. You just didn't want to see it." My knees nearly buckled. The man I'd married wasn't the man standing before me, and maybe he never had been. I packed, in silence. Every photo frame, every coffee mug we'd picked together, mocked me. Daniel stood in the doorway, arms crossed, like he was the wronged one. "You're throwing this away over nothing," he scoffed. "Nothing," I snapped finally, finding my voice. "You invited strangers into our marriage without my consent. That's not nothing. It's betrayal." He rolled his eyes, muttering, "You'll regret this." But I knew I wouldn't. Regret was what I'd feel if I stayed. As I loaded my last box into the car, I looked at the house one final time. The walls held our memories, holidays, quiet mornings, whispered dreams. But now they also held the echo of 4 strangers' laughter, the shadow of Daniel's hand where it never should have been. I turned the key in the ignition and didn't look back again. At first, every day felt heavy. Coffee didn't taste right. Music felt empty. But slowly, I began to breathe again. I found a new apartment, painted the walls bright yellow, bought dishes that were only mine. I started therapy. I learned that what Daniel had done wasn't just infidelity. It was coercion disguised as romance. I also learned something else. I wasn't broken. He was. Months later, Daniel sent me a letter. I realize now what I lost. I'm sorry. I read it once, folded it neatly, and placed it in the drawer. Not to keep, but to remind myself never to return. My marriage ended the USA night 4 strangers walked into my home, but my life began the moment I walked out.